January 6th.
I'm not going to let you put words in my mouth. I'm going to put my words in my mouth. And I'm going to tell you what I mean by that.
Where is the evidence that the government was involved in planning or executing January 6th?
So I'm going to give you hard facts. And if I may, Abby, I know this is going to be a little uncomfortable, but we're going to go through this, and you can push back on it after that.
Welcome to American Perfectionist, where we dissect the intricate tapestry of political landscapes with a magnifying glass of scrutiny. Subscribe, hit that like button, and let's embark on this intellectual exploration together. Let's dive into the heart of the matter of today's video. Woke CNN host gets roasted by Vivek Ramaswamy during Townhall. Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you somewhat befuddled, pondering the peculiar mix of intellectual substances being consumed over at CNN. The recent decision to feature Ramaswamy on their program has left me questioning the wisdom of such a move. Is this a deliberate pursuit of embarrassment? Or has the CNN team been neglectful in keeping abreast of the recent debates, televised discussions, and the active social media presence of Mr. Swamy? It appears as though they may be blissfully unaware, having metaphorically dwelled under a rock, given his articulate contributions across the political spectrum in recent months. The audacity displayed by the network is quite striking. What prompts them to believe that they can orchestrate a gotcha moment with Mr. Swamy today? While some might find it entertaining, I find myself contemplating the impact on the quality of content. As we delve into this matter, I implore you to carefully observe the ensuing exchange. In my attempt to provide context, I aim to avoid injecting bias, but a certain tempo needs to be set. Note how the host consistently interrupts Mr. Swamy, preventing him from completing his thoughts. The issue at hand seems to be a reluctance to allow him to express his views freely, particularly when they diverge from the established narrative. Instead of stifling his voice, they should permit him to articulate his arguments, offering a chance for counterpoints and allowing the audience to make informed judgments. In essence, what is being questioned here is the faith in the intelligence of the audience. The viewers are not passive consumers. They are capable of conducting their research and discerning truth from fiction. The process is straightforward. Allow the man to speak, challenge his assertions, and trust the audience to form their conclusions. With these considerations in mind, let us roll the clip and dissect this intriguing situation further.
So why, before Congress, when pressed on what the number was, they didn't say there were none? They just couldn't say how many there were.
So you're saying that that you have not seen any evidence that there were.
We've seen multiple informants suggesting that there were. We know people were FBI informants who were asked to.
Is there any evidence?
May I just finish this, and you can come back and question me?
But let me clarify.
I know it's very uncomfortable for you.
I'm going to clarify my question.
I know this is an uncomfortable issue for many people, but we have to do the truth here.
I'm going to clarify my question because I want to make sure that you understand what I'm asking.
I understand this deeply. And I told you, I was with you 3 years ago. I'm not there now.
Where is the evidence?
Yes.
Where is the evidence that the government had a plot, an inside job?
She has posed the same question. Allow the man to respond to the query you asked. It seems you may not appreciate his manner of answering, but let him address the question he is attempting to answer.
But no, I'm going to tell you what inside job is, because I'm not
violence on January 6th.
I'm not going to let you put words in my mouth. I'm going to put my words in my mouth. And I'm going to tell you what I mean by that.
Where is the evidence that the government was involved in planning or executing January 6th?
So I'm going to give you hard facts. And if I may, Abby, I know this is going to be a little uncomfortable, but we're going to go through this, and you can push back on it after that. And you can push back on that. And let's do this fairly. Why did they suppress footage of now what's been released, 200 hours of footage of shooting rubber bullets into that crowd, shooting tear gas into that crowd? You didn't see that before. You saw what the response was to that. Now you see footage coming out of actually rolling out the red carpet for Capitol Police allowing people in.
Let the man talk and stop interrupting him every 5 seconds seriously.
Again,
right through the front door.
The vast majority of the footage
evidence should have been released before, Abby.
Mr. Ramaswamy, the vast majority of the footage shows police officers being overrun
and I want to talk about one more
by
case.
violent
this is really important.
rioters. That's
I'm going to give you some hard facts.
Of it shows.
So here's what entrapment is.
You can't cherry pick.
I'm not cherry picking. If I may finish, Abby. If I may finish, Abby. I'm not cherry picking.
Examples.
To the contrary. To the contrary. You know who cherry picked? You know who cherry picked? The government did.
I find myself witnessing a scenario where they are imparting a tactic to someone, urging her to effectively stifle any expression from him that deviates from the narrative they wish to propagate. The man involved is passionately arguing that this constitutes a form of entrapment. His assertion revolves around the idea that there is a fundamental prohibition against coercing individuals or establishing an environment that actively encourages criminal behavior. As the conversation unfolds, there is a palpable exchange of ideas and viewpoints. Amid this discourse, the man elucidates that the authorities, in an attempt to control a situation, were resorting to tactics such as deploying tear gas and deliberately provoking the crowd. The crux of his argument lies in the assertion that if a peaceful assembly is deliberately agitated, potentially with the involvement of informants inciting reactions, the responsibility for ensuing unrest lies squarely with the government. To illustrate his point further, he draws a parallel to a hypothetical situation. Picture this. Someone dressed in plain clothes assuming the role of a drug dealer, approaching an inexperienced young individual who has never been involved in drug-related activities. Through persuasive conversation, this individual is encouraged to consider selling drugs as a lucrative opportunity. The young person, who had not previously contemplated such actions, is introduced to the idea and provided with a pathway to engage in criminal activity. The twist comes when, post-convincing and agitation, the same individual is subsequently arrested for the very crime they were egged on to commit. In drawing this analogy, the man asserts that, legally speaking, such a scenario is unacceptable. It embodies a clear contradiction where the government, by actively encouraging or provoking individuals to engage in criminal behavior, then turns around to apprehend them for the very acts they were induced to commit. This, according to him, constitutes a violation of legal principles and ethical standards.
What happened
the government cherry-picked 12 hours of footage when there was 200 hours of footage. So cherry-picking was the government, not me. Released the whole thing.
It brings up a pertinent question. Why did the government opt to disclose only specific segments of the video, instead of releasing the entire footage? This selective approach to information dissemination seems perplexing, particularly when the goal should ostensibly be transparency. If the intent is to provide a comprehensive account of events, one would logically expect the release of the complete video rather than a curated selection. The lack of a full video release becomes even more questionable when considering that the concealed portions apparently depict individuals nonchalantly entering the Capitol building with the accompaniment of law enforcement. This revelation challenges the prevailing narrative, which primarily emphasizes conflicts between protesters and the police. By selectively showcasing instances of tension, the released footage presents a skewed perspective, failing to capture the nuanced complexity of the entire situation. The crux of the matter lies in the unreleased content that, if made public, might present a different narrative altogether. It appears that individuals faced charges simply for being physically present, with the implication that they were guided and permitted entry by law enforcement. The absence of this crucial context in the released footage creates an incomplete and potentially misleading portrayal of the events, raising concerns about the transparency and objectivity of the government's disclosure. In order to foster a more comprehensive understanding of the situation, releasing the entirety of the video footage would be essential.
Let me just finish one thing, too, because this is super important as a topic.
So
I think this is a civil libertarian issue of our time. Gretchen Whitmer's kidnapping. I want to be really clear on this, because it's the same issue in the same FBI, same even part of the FBI. 3 people who were in an alleged plot to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer were acquitted at the end of trial because it was entrapment. That is, government agents put them up to do something they otherwise wouldn't have done. They gave them credit cards with spending limits of up to $5,000, encouraged them to buy munitions, plan something they weren't otherwise willing to plan. So much so, and I want people at home to know this, especially CNN viewers to know this, is that one of the jurors went to those defendants and apologized afterwards, gave him a hug, apologized, seeing what the government had put a poor guy up to who had to go to some Mexican restaurant across the street to get hot water. These people were exploited with credit cards up to $5,000, FBI agents putting them up to a kidnapping plot that we were told was true but was entrapment. Same thing with the Capitol Police, people letting them in freely. Many of those people then being charged.
Look,
the government cannot put you up to do something and then charge you for it.
Look,
that's wrong.
I don't want to have
to. Wrong to the left or the right. I don't want
to have to interrupt you. I really don't. But I don't want you to mislead the audience here or at home.
I think they've been misled by mainstream media.
This is the juncture where things start to go awry. I'm adamant about this, and I implore you to listen closely. What we should be engaged in is a town hall or a debate, an open platform for the exchange of diverse opinions. If an individual holds a perspective on a matter unfolding in a particular direction, it shouldn't be construed as an attempt to mislead. Rather, it's an articulation of the evidence they possess, a claim that, at that moment, stands unchallenged due to the lack of immediate disproof. It's vital to afford them the space to express their viewpoint before launching into a rebuttal. The ability to engage in such intellectual discourse, presenting differing perspectives and engaging in meaningful dialogue, is a hallmark of democratic societies. However, there seems to be a reluctance on the part of some to allow for a diverse narrative to be heard. There's an apparent aversion to exposing people to viewpoints that deviate from the established narrative. The resistance stems from a fear that individuals, once exposed to alternative perspectives, might embark on independent research, leading them to conclusions that challenge the existing narrative. This resistance manifests as the labeling of dissenting viewpoints as misinformation, stifling the opportunity for a nuanced understanding of complex issues. I want to extend a shout-out to Vivek Ramaswamy, someone I hold in high regard. His intellectual acuity, quick wit, and commitment to reason and logic position him as a potential influencer shaping the future trajectory of the Republican Party. Remember, the conversation doesn't end here, perfectionists. It continues with each like, comment, and share. Stay informed, stay engaged, and let's keep the dialogue alive. Until next time, this is American Perfectionist signing off, because the world is a stage, and we're all players in the grand political drama. Remember, the quest for a more perfect union never ends. Keep striving, keep questioning, and let's continue this journey towards a better America together. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and always aim for perfection.